Hey Dee, have you seen all those videos of people sitting down in a chair acting like they're getting ready to start a Netflix documentary?
Yes, because you showed them to me. Some of them are quite hilarious.
Yes. So if we were going to start Netflix documentaries, what do you think they'd be about?
Well, I could do one on my adventures trying to learn Bulgarian and on Bulgarian roses and roses in general. What would you do?
I could sit down and talk about how to garden without ticking off your garden fairies.
Always important, right?
Yep.
Maybe I could do one about my battles with Bermuda grass. Lord knows that's a popular
Yeah.
one.
Or I could do one about how I'm putting together the family time capsule for the semi-quincentennial. That would be a good one.
That would be a really timely one, and it would be outside our wheelhouse. There are so many choices, but we better get back on track and actually do this podcast.
Okay, and it's my turn to start us off, and I shall.
Go for
Welcome
it.
to the Garden Angeles, where we chat about flowers, veggies, and all the best dirt. I'm Carol Michael from Indianapolis, Indiana. I have a suburban garden measured in square feet. It's about a third of an acre.
And I'm Dee Nash from Guthrie, Oklahoma, where I still have a large garden out in the country and my microphone has not been plugged in.
So wonder how it sounds.
I have no idea, but we're going to plug it in right now and then we'll be ready to go.
Because
Sorry.
I could hear you, so I'm assuming it picked it up.
Oh, well, this is just typical of us because. All right. I'm Dee Nash from Guthrie, Oklahoma, where I still have a large garden out in the country and I have a small garden too, but not for long.
We are Garden Angeles because we love gardening. We want you to love it too.
Yes, we do, and we aren't afraid to spill all of our gardening secrets, the good, the bad, and even the ugly. But let's move on to this week's episode. How are you, Carol, and how does your garden grow? And can you still hear me?
I can hear you just fine,
Great.
and hopefully the Zoom gods and goddesses will continue to give us the early audio because it was absolutely hilarious, right?
I thought it was great. Okay, so what's going on in your garden?
So, not really garden related, but podcast related. Dee, I sent you that text that we won a Silver Laurel Award from GardenCom for our podcast.
That's a really big deal.
Whoop,
We
whoop.
went out against several different people, so that was really amazing. I'm surprised
Yeah.
anybody even listens to us.
Well, yeah, we're award winning.
We're award-winning podcast now. Woohoo! Go us. So what
So,
else?
I had some pretty nice days in the garden this week. It really actually cooled down, and I could have gotten a lot done. But
Uh-huh.
instead, Dee, I went on Monday and I had a kidney stone removed.
Yes, I remember, and it was kind of the pits.
I do not highly recommend it as a summertime activity,
It's not real
nor
fun.
nor a fall, winter, or spring activity, but one must.
Well, yeah, because it sent you to the hospital before, so
It did,
yeah.
and so, anyway, I'm much better. Throughout the week, I have managed to keep up with water and everything. I've had a small trickle of produce coming out of the vegetable garden, some tomatoes, but even on the beefsteak, I picked one really big beefsteak, and I put a picture of my bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich on Substack, that I made with it. But even on that beefsteak, some of them are small, and I'm like,
Mhm,
"This is not right." Um,
mhm.
few cucumbers, handful of green beans. I have the laziest squash plants ever.
I don't
They are n
understand those.
they are not producing. I have picked a few peppers, so anyway,
Maybe you should put some compost on those,
I'm gonna yeah, it's gonna
or
get hot again this
organic
weekend.
fertilizer maybe, and then if it doesn't work, then, yeah, I
They're
get
gonna
rid of
get
them.
pulled.
Maybe you need to pollinate them. Are you getting any squash at all?
Yeah, I get a few squash. It's not like
Okay,
I'm not
so it's
getting any.
not so it's not a
No.
pollination issue.
Actually, I think there's some squash vine borer activity going on back there now
Ah,
too, so
yeah, that could be.
anyway, also trying out an organic, weed killer that the lawn care service, my organic lawn care service had recommended.
Uh-huh.
Um, I just mix in a little bottle and spray it, and it's so far, it's knocked down some thistles, so we're gonna see if it's just a top kill or if it's gonna come roaring back. It's,
Okay.
I'll put the name of it in the show notes. I'm not ready to recommend it to everybody, but I'm
Mhm.
experimenting with it. And so the other big surprise is because it's been so hot and, we had some haze from Canada for a while, the grass has really stopped growing and I don't need to mow this week. So
Oh, that's a
if
surprise, but good thing, right?
yeah, it's a good thing. If ever there's a week not to have to mow, this would be the
This
week
would
not
be
to have
it.
to mow.
Yeah,
So
no kidding.
I'll probably mow next week. But anyway, we'll get to that in commissions. I'd like to hear about your garden, but not about this raining part. We need rain. Need
Well, it
rain.
okay, let me just say it's just a trickle. We're at the very bottom of this big front that came through the western part of Oklahoma, which is always the part of Oklahoma that's in severe drought.
Mm,
And so it's going straight across the northern part of Oklahoma, and we just got this little dip. And I was on the phone with my best friend Amy, and I was actually getting rain on my feet, and so I had to move my chair back. But it was nice because it keeps the well, okay, it's not nice like later today because it'll be really hot and humid. But right now it's nice because it's beautifully humid and cool, which never happens in Oklahoma at the end of July. So there's that. And then let's see, I did some weeding because I've got some Bermuda grass trying to come into
right?
my gardens in the back. And I also deadheaded the roses. I've been keeping up with that really easily because I only have 10 instead of 80. That's amazing.
Makes a difference.
Makes a huge difference. And I kept the pots watered. And I did a small video, which I put on stories and on Instagram, which only lasts 24 hours, but it was about watering pots in the heat and how, even though these are on drip irrigation, most of them, I still have to water them twice a day. So they get once a day in the afternoon, and then I water them in the morning because otherwise it's too hot. I mean, I could see stuff wilting. And so I did that. And I also want to say really quickly that if you're going to water pots, water them to where the water runs all the way out the bottom because that's how you know you've gotten all of the water. All of the potting soil wet. So there's that. Now we should play favorites.
So my favorite this week, I know it's kind of boring, and we probably picked this as a favorite between us a half dozen times, but it is that Verbena bonariensis,
Mhm.
which has self-sown itself in this front garden here and out by the mailbox.
Mine
And
too.
yeah, I just got the seeds from All America Selections they sent us, and it was the variety Vanity, which was a 2022 winner. And really, I just let it self-sow, and I actually
I
might
do
collect
too.
some seed and try to get some going in the back, but that attracts pollinators, and there's nothing but loveliness about it.
There is nothing but loveliness. It attracts pollinators, including hummingbirds. So I get both butterflies and hummingbirds on that plant, and it's about time for me to deadhead mine again. I moved some plants early in the season from my old garden to here, but then I also noticed that when I moved a couple of daylilies over here, the seeds came up from Verbena bonariensis.
Oh, nice.
And if we're going to mention Verbena bonariensis, I think we should mention Verbena Bampton because I have it in several pots. And I literally took it from pots and just put it like it had. You're laughing because it self sows like crazy.
Oh, yeah, it's self-sowing in my patio,
Yeah,
and back in the
kind of a
vegetable garden, there's a
natty.
big patch of it back there that I've left, and I'm like, "Welcome to the garden, Bampton. You shall grow wherever you like, I guess."
Pretty much. At my house, it is not quite as rampant as it is at your house, but I've also kept all of mine in pots, and I'll be interested to see because I've got it around. Okay, my favorite this week is the Delish Rose,
Uh-huh.
and I have Bampton surrounding Delish Rose, which I just took the plants out of other pots when they self-sowed over the winter
Yeah, I saw
before.
that on your watering video. I could see the Verbena Bampton growing.
I have it over there in that pot too. I have it in 2 pots. We'll see what happens. It may just take off and be totally crazy, but let me just say something about Delish Rose. All right, it's DEE-LISH, right? And I
Right,
had to buy it because it's my name. And
right.
the first part of it was I was actually given this rose when it first came out. And it just did not do well in the ground. I mean, it was unhappy. It's a hybrid tea, and it was really unhappy. So I saw it again for sale up at Big Creek Nursery, and I said, "You know what? I love this rose. I love the color of it. I think it's really beautiful." So I bought it and I put it in a pot, and I've kept it in a pot ever since. And some people say you can't grow roses in pots, but I think you can. It's probably time this fall to put it in a new pot, but, I mean, I left it outside and everything, and it did just fine, and it does still get a little bit of black spot, but not like it does in the ground.
Cool.
So I just pick off the leaves and throw them over in the lawn, and it's all fine. So there you go.
Cool. So the question of the week is one that I sent you,
I
and
think I
as
know what it is.
well, my neighbor next door, he he had something digging around in his front yard, and he thought they were looking for grubs. And then I was talking to him the other day, and he said, "It's worse in the back." And I went back there, and it's
Mhm,
like, "Oh my, something's digging back here." So
mhm,
I sent a picture to you
mhm.
because I think I know what it is.
I think we both know what it is because I've seen it here many times in my old house. It's armadillo. And I said to you, do you guys have armadillos that far north now? Because, used to be they were in Texas and further south, but now they're all over Oklahoma, all over.
Well, there's news reports that said they've come up through southwestern Indiana,
I
and then I
believe it.
saw another news report that said they had been around in Marion County, which I'm in Marion County. And
Mhm.
so I told him, I says, "I think it's armadillo." And he's like, "You're crazy." And
No, it looks
but
like
he knew I was
armadillo.
crazy. Well, he asked Grok because his wife has a Tesla and it has Grok,
Mhm,
and Grok came back and said it was either raccoons,
mhm,
skunks, or armadillos, but
mhm.
wasn't sure about armadillos, didn't realize they were this far north, and I said, "I hope it's not skunk." I've never seen a skunk
I've
around
never
here.
seen a skunk dig like that. I mean,
And
and we gotta explain. He has big patches of digging
oh,
areas,
I'll put a
and
picture on there.
it's uprooted as grass, and you guys have, you have the grass that, bunches up. You don't have running Bermuda grass, so it really is destroying his lawn.
I'll put a picture in the newsletter, and maybe one of our listeners can look at it and say, "Oh, you guys, you're crazy. It's not that, it's this."
I mean, it could be a raccoon, but
Well,
I'll be honest, I've never had raccoons dig like that.
no, and
Never.
he says we've had raccoons here for years, never had that kind of
I think it's
problem.
an armadillo because they have those long claws. Here's the bad part. If it is an armadillo, I know all about armadillos because I dealt with them all last year. Armadillos are a real problem because you can't bait a trap with any food because they have no sense of smell and they have really lousy eyesight. Or maybe they do have a sense of smell, but they don't
No,
eat
they
regular
don't.
food. They don't, do they? Okay, so that's what I remembered. All right, so you can't put grub worms in a little dish and hope they'll come. Like raccoons are easy to catch because you just put cat food in the trap and they run right in there because 'cause they're dumb. But it's really hard to catch armadillos. You have to put out a little, like, piece of wood so that it guides them in because they're stupid and they can't see,
Well, that's what I
and
told the neighbor. He's got a big trap, and he said he felt like if we set a trap that he's probably gonna catch either the feral cat or a raccoon.
well, you will, 'cause I caught a opossum, a baby opossum, like, 5 times, and I paid a
So
company. The way I learned how to trap them is I paid a company to come out and trap them for me, and he got several, and then he kinda showed because you have to look for where their trail is.
well, and I can't figure out where their trail is.
It's
They
hard.
they're tiny bit in my side yard, but not much. They've mostly been in his back, and so they have to have a burrow somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, they had one under my house,
I
remember?
don't
And
know where the burrow is,
then
and
the dirt
so
thing died under my house, and it was terrible, and I
yes.
had to put lime under my house, and then on top of that, I messed up my ceiling and had to have it redone. I mean, armadillos are a problem.
So anyway,
They jump straight up, by the way.
my other concern is who in this area that traps wildlife and does that, who knows how to deal with armadillos?
I think, call them and just see if they've been an issue, have him call.
Anyway, I'll talk to
Aren't you glad they're over there and not really at your house yet?
yes, but it's might as well be,
Yeah,
his problem's my problem's his problem when it
that's
comes to
true
these wild
because you're
animals.
yuck.
All right,
Alrighty. Well, there you go.
I'll
Insect of the
report
week.
later if anything happens
Your insect of the week actually relates to armadillos because it's
because they like the grubs.
right, it's June beetles. And June
Yes,
beetles are part of the grubs. I mean, they're not the only thing that makes grubs, but in Oklahoma, we have a lot of June beetles of various kinds. And yeah, that's grubs in your lawn are what attracts armadillos. So, first of all,
yes.
use milky spore disease if you can to get rid of the grubs. And if you need to use something more severe and you don't have dogs, you might have to do that too. The end.
Exactly. But anyway, so we are going to talk about June beetles simply because
Mhm.
one hitchhiked on my shirt. I was outside the other night and came
Was it
back
a
in,
brown one or
just a
was it
brown one.
yeah, the brown ones are kinda oh, they're not my favorite.
There's a green one.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's,
pretty at least.
so anyway, I did discover they have a 3-year life cycle. They actually spend 2 years in the ground as grubs,
Mhm.
growing bigger and bigger and bigger until they emerge that last year as an adult. Mate, lay more eggs, repeat the cycle. But the good news is, most of the time, it's
Mhm.
not like a Japanese beetle infestation. Most of the time, these are fairly well controlled. They're favorite foods of wildlife and birds, and
Mhm.
so. And I remember
And
as a,
dogs. Dogs love to eat them.
I don't know about that.
No, they do. I'm not kidding.
I
They
mean, I
do.
don't know because I don't have a dog.
Well, trust me, they do.
But
If
I
you
used to
don't
see them more when I was a kid because they're attracted to the light. Like if the porch light's on, and then in the
yeah,
morning we'd have all these dead June bugs on the porch.
yeah,
Don't seem
exactly.
as much.
Don't see 'em as much as you used to. That's why they have those yellow lights because the yellow lights are they aren't attracted to those. They're okay. I mean, they don't bother me that much, and the grubs are irritating, but I was gonna say one more thing that has to do with the armadillo and the grubs. If you don't water your lawn as much, the grubs don't come as close to the surface where the armadillo can get them, and the ground is not as soft.
Exactly. And I don't water my back as a general rule. He's been watering in the back and in the front, and so his
Mhm.
ground is softer. So I don't know.
That might be why. They're yeah, okay. Anyway, do the quote. I'm tired of talking about the topic.
The difference between a cow and a bean is a bean can begin an adventure. Stephen Sondheim, and he's referring to Jack and the Beanstalk.
Mhm. Famous director, writer, wrote lots of things. Okay, flowers.
Famous story.
Mhm. Very famous story. Beans for flowers. What beans can you grow to get beautiful flowers? Well, immediately, hyacinth bean comes to mind. Hyacinth bean is amazing because it will cover an entire trellis or whatever you need it to cover in one season. Of course, it's tropical, so that'll be the end of that. But you can collect the beans and then you can resow the seeds the next year. And you don't have to start it indoors. It's extremely easy to grow.
Yeah, I have it growing. Now, it's not growing as well as I would like it to. I think everything out in the vegetable garden needs a smack of nitrogen or something. But
Yeah, it sounds like it.
and everywhere that I pull something out, I'm going to just plant beans because they fix nitrogen in the soil, including the hyacinth beans. But I bought some beans. I bought some pass along beans, I'll call them,
Uh-huh.
at a place called Vintage Whimsy down in Franklin, Indiana. And she just had some that she'd collected from her parents. So I thought, well, I'll get some of those. I sowed some of those to go up a trellis thing in my vegetable garden. And it's reached the top, but it's just like one spindly vine of each. I didn't plant like a big long row of them. So
There you go.
anyway, that's a good one. Very pretty
I
purple
can't grow
beans,
those here. Are we which ones are we talking about? I'm sorry,
the
I looked at them other
hyacinth
beans.
beans.
Oh, the science yeah, I grow that all the time. I didn't grow it this year, but I'll grow it again. I mean, it would
It's
be really pretty on my, mailbox.
when you have to love the botanical name,
Ready?
Lab purpureus.
Lab lab.
And so the
Yep.
other common name for it is lab bean.
Lab lab bean.
Lab bean. Scarlet runner beans I put next.
Okay, I thought you were talking about those. Those don't do too well in Oklahoma. It's too hot here, but I hear they do well where you live.
Fazolius coccineus. And I started some last year. They did okay, but I'm
Mhm.
growing them this year and they're doing much better. Although I only have them growing up like a 3-foot trellis, so I didn't give them great heights to climb,
Right?
so to speak. But they're nice and they have a pretty red flower.
Uh-huh.
You can eat the beans if you
That's
want.
what I've heard, is that you can eat them, but they're not as
They're
good
not
as
the
some of the
tastiest
seeds.
bean, I
Yeah.
don't think. I'm
I
not
guess if
planning to
you're
eat them.
hungry.
I'm just grew them because, again, they fix nitrogen in the soil, and I wanted to see the pretty scarlet flowers, and they are pretty.
They are pretty, I've seen them. I've seen them when we've traveled. I've tried to grow them here, they don't grow here well. Alright, yard-long beans do grow here well, really well.
I've never
People
grown these, and this is
people eat them, if
this
it's the
is
one I'm thinking about.
Vigna unguiculata subspecies sesquipedalus,
It's a
also
big
known as
one.
Chinese beans.
Yeah, Chinese beans. I have a friend who my friend Jenny, she grew them many times, and I've eaten them because she gave me some. They're okay. Not my favorite, but they're pretty.
Well, and the reason I would grow these, well, actually, I would tell my older sister to grow these. You do have to trellis these
Mhm,
and or put them on a teepee or whatever.
mhm.
But because the yard-long beans would be very impressive to a child.
Oh, yeah, they're really cool, and you cut them if you're gonna eat them. You cut them into segments because they are huge, so and then I thought of one.
Oh,
What?
no, you don't take those yard-long beans and try to cook it in a pot and then
No, you cut them first.
really? Because 'Cause they're a yard long,
They're not a yard long, they're about that long. Is that a yard? Maybe it's a yard.
18 inches.
18 inches, yeah. Okay, the next one I thought of, and I went over and got it, is corkscrew vine beans, which
Never
are
heard of it.
corkscrew vine was discovered by Thomas Jefferson and brought to the United States by him. And
Nice.
it takes all you probably haven't heard of them because it takes all summer long to get them to the point where they bloom. They're slow, but they smell amazing, and they have this beautiful little purple and white, flower that is just gorgeous. So,
I will have to look that up because I actually have never heard of that, and so ho does it say how many days to flower?
a lot. Hang on, let me look on the back of this package at Rare Seeds. They're also called snail vine because the shape of the flower is like a snail. 90 to 120 days to maturity. So it's a long deal.
So it would
So,
bloom before 90 days, but it would be like
right.
yeah, that would be yeah, hardly
Yeah,
worth waiting for.
exactly. So, well, I mean, it is here, but maybe not everybody else, not where you live. And I'm going to try to say its name. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Cochleanthus sithansis caracalla. Wow,
That
that's
is
hard to
very
say.
good.
That's very hard to say.
Well, that
Anyway, they're all legumes. They're wonderful. And then you brought up a legume that is also grown as a perennial.
and that is the wisteria, and I have the American wisteria, and
Me too.
I don't know if you remember, but last fall, I cut it completely off the trellis down to the ground,
Uh-huh.
and no surprise to anybody, it's
It came
completely
right
grown
back.
up all the way back, and
It's
instead of
happy.
flowering in the spring, it's flowering now.
Right, because you cut it back later, yeah, so it would. The interesting thing is when all that fire went through my neighborhood, mine burned to the ground, and so I cut it all the way back and said, "Good luck," and it came right back, and it's very beautiful now, and they do have long beans.
Yes, they do, and I would advise cutting those long beans because you don't want them to self-sow in your garden.
Not particularly, no. No, 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 and then I
No.
also have the Kentucky one too, which is I can't remember the name of it. One is Wisteria frutescens, which is the American one, and then the other one's Wisteria macrophyra or something like that. But
Yeah, and my older sister has a real pretty trellis, and she's got a wisteria on both sides. I think one might be Chinese and one American, but
oh
anyway,
dear.
she wants to take the vine off and repaint the whole thing. I'm gonna tell her, like, just cut the whole thing back to the ground.
Yeah, just cut it to the ground, it'll be fine. So
Yes.
all of these vines need support, lots of
Yes.
support, all of them.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. Don't just plant them somewhere, they will not just run across the, deal, so
So but they're all very pretty, and if you wanna add some ornamentation to your vegetable garden or even, stick them in a flower bed, the hyacinth bean, the scarlet bean especially, stick them out there on a trellis, add a little interest. That would be the thing to do, and they
the
fix
corkscrew
nitrogen.
vine also, because it's very mild and mannerly.
Cool.
It's not a tough climber. Alright, ready for the next quote?
I am.
Something essential happens in a vegetable garden. It's a place where you can't say, I love you out loud. You can say it in seeds, and the land will reciprocate in beans. Robin Kimmerer. That's a great one.
It is for our topic.
Yeah.
So we were gonna talk about alternative beans to grow, and this would be beans for drying, so black beans, kidney beans, northern beans. You can grow these to dry, and
Pinto,
I've
pinto
grown black
beans.
beans. Huh?
Pinto beans.
Pinto beans.
Mhm,
Most of these are Phaseolus vulgaris, common beans.
mhm.
And I remember reading in my grandmother's diaries from the 1920s that somebody gave her a bunch of shelling beans is the other thing that they're often called. Gave her some shelling beans and she shelled them out. And so here's the thing of these.
Shelling beans to me are when they're fresh.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's true.
When they get to the point where
The the pod is rough and tough
the
and you
pod
can't eat
is
it.
tough, but you can still eat the beans inside, and they're delicious fresh. So oh, my
But
lawn mowing guys are here. Hopefully, that won't make a lot of noise.
no, it won't make a lot of noise. But the drying beans, you do have to let them go until the plant basically is yellowed and then the pod is dry and rattly.
Yeah.
And so I picked up some information from the Old Farmer's Almanac. I've grown the black beans to dry and got a nice bunch. I mean, a
Yeah.
handful of seed is like you would not believe how much seed you get, how many beans you get from that handful of seeds.
Mhm.
But they had suggested that if you put the beans, the dried beans pods in a pillowcase and shake it really good,
Yeah, I've heard of
the
that.
beans will fall out and then you can just take out the
The
shells,
pods, the
the
chaff.
pods, the chad, and then you would have that. And if you wanted to practice winnowing, where you're throwing it against the wind and the seeds drop and the chaff blows away, I think that drying beans would be a good place to try that.
It'd be easier than wheat. Okay, so here's my funny thing. I've grown a lot of different beans over the years, but one year I decided I was gonna grow pinto beans and tomatillos. I was doing this whole, Latino garden,
Uh-huh.
and, the tomatillos did great. They're related to tomatoes, and they do really well. The beans did great. The pinto beans, I had them on a trellis in the vegetable garden in ground, and they did great. And then the raccoons found them, and that was that. The end. They didn't eat the tomatillos, though. They just ate the beans.
People are gonna listen to this podcast and say, why do you guys worry? I mean, critters just come and eat everything. Either it's the bugs or it's armadillos or it's raccoons or it's
We still get a
possums.
lot of really good things. It's
Yeah,
just sometimes stuff doesn't work out.
sometimes it don't work out. I'll do a quote. A writer is like a bean plant. He has his little day and then gets stringy. Unknown. That is a weird quote, Dee.
Well, it's just saying that, you're really popular as a writer and then someday you're not. All right, on the bookshelf, you are the one who has this book, and it's
Yeah,
awesome.
I pulled it out. It's Saving Seeds, Preserving Taste by Bill Best, and it's
Mhm.
Heirloom Seed Savers in Appalachia. And it's actually,
What made you buy that book?
you know what? Um, you know the writer Alan Bush?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He wrote about this book, and it just sounded so nice.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a great book. It's just the Appalachia part. I was like, "That's so not your part of the world," but
No, but I'm in India. I mean, Kentucky's just right across the river.
that's true.
I mean, not right across the river. But here's what's charming about this book. First of all, there's a whole big section on beans, which is what I really turned to. And
Well,
there are uh, community beans, family beans, people that hand down from family to family, county and regional beans, like everybody in the county.
yeah.
Um, and then he's got beans by state. So he's got some that are like one called greasy beans, another one called cut shorts, pink tip beans, wax beans. You can't always find all these.
No. Although, if you go to, Rancho Gordo Rancho Gordo, which we've talked about before, it's out of California, and he has lots and lots of, contacts to get really unusual beans, and I've eaten a lot of them. They're really good.
Well, and you could go to
Making me
Seed
want to
Saver.
go make a pot of
Yeah.
beans.
Seed Savers Exchange would
Yeah,
have maybe Southern Exposure seeds. They would have
yeah, they would
some.
have them. Mhm.
So, but the thing is, um, a lot of the book is it's just not about the beans, but it's stories about people. And so, and then he has pictures like here's this lovely person.
Who saved her beans.
Yes. And so there's pictures in here of people. And so
Mm,
it's, as per usual, the story of the garden isn't just the story of the seeds, but it's also the story of the gardeners who tend it,
sure.
and save the seeds and pass them down from generation to generation and just hope that the next generation catches. And so there's lots of pictures of, interesting old people in here and from that
Sounds
area of
like
the
a really
country.
good sounds like a good book.
It is a very good book. I don't think it's in print anymore. It's put out by Ohio University Press, but I don't think it's very old.
Mhm.
Let me see. It would be put out by a university press. Oh, actually, it's from 2013, so it's about 13 years old.
Yeah, but beans don't change, so those are not my
Yeah.
lawn mowing guys, those are the next door neighbor's lawn mowing guys.
Anyway, there's a chapter on tomatoes, apples, corn, candy roasters, cucumbers, some of the seed saving traditions, et cetera,
Mhm.
et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I just enjoy having this, dipping into it every once in a while. Saving
Cool.
Seeds, Preserving Taste by Bill Best, Heirloom Seed Savers in Appalachia.
Well, and here's the thing, anything that you get out of your garden tastes better than what you grow I mean, what you see in the store, right? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
because you get it fresh, right? But we know for a fact that some things can't be shipped well, and so we end up with only, say, 2 kinds of tomato, you know? And as people's palates have gotten better, um, they tend to grow more of the heirloom type stuff because or things that are hybrids that are really good because there's really good hybrids that are, also wonderful. Not so much
Right.
with beans, though. Beans tend to be handed down from person to person.
Well, and occasionally a tomato will get into the market that's been handed down, like Mortgage Lifter comes to mind. That's,
Mhm.
you know,
Well, and I was also thinking about all the cherry tomatoes, like, when I go to Sprouts now, there's, like, 15 kinds of cherry tomato. And used to be
mhm,
you could only get one variety, and it was just your basic, easy to ship cherry tomato, but people figured out that some cherry tomatoes are really sweet, and so now they have some, and they call them names like Sugar Bomb.
right. The other
So
thing I like about this book, by the way,
yes. Mhm.
I mean, it captures a history that if it got online, it would just be buried somewhere, and it exists physically in this book, and so I feel like
Right.
that, if you're living in that area, you should definitely be having this book because you wanna know about your gardening heritage if you're in the Appalachia area or if you're up north in Indiana.
Also, if you buy beans from somewhere, like, say, Rancho Gordo, for example, you can plant those beans. You can take some of them and plant them because they're the seeds, and
Uh-huh.
people do it all the time. I'm part of a group on Facebook, and a lot of people grow those beans, and maybe you wouldn't be able to find those beans anywhere in the United States. Some of them are from Mexico, Argentina, places like that.
Cool. Anyway, that was our book.
Cool. All right, I'll do the next quote. They journeyed on for a bit, then set up camp and cooked beans over a small fire, the poor man's meat, drifter food. Some said beans will get you across the desert and back. Dead men said a lot of things. And that's by Dean F. Wilson from a book called Dust Runner. I just like the idea of cooking beans over the campfire.
It would take a while.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to soak them while you were, like, riding on your horse, I guess, and then cook
Yeah.
'em, or,
Yeah.
in the chuck wagon, they must have soaked them, and then they put them on the fire because the chuck wagon was always kind of,
Which reminds me, I have this is a good story and not a good story. I have my grandmother's cast iron bean pot.
Mhm.
And first of all, it's not that big, and she was feeding a fairly huge family out of this bean pot. I'm like, did they really eat that much less? I don't know.
I think
But
so.
I didn't know what to do with it. It's been sitting on my patio as sort of a decoration. And now the lid has
Rusted.
rusted itself closed on the pot. And so
Oh.
it's just a rusty pot out there, but it's cast iron. And I suppose the right person could clean it up.
Yeah, they could.
And,
Mhm.
but they'd have to get that lid pried off of there. And I know there's terrible
There's
water in
rust
there.
cleaners. There's rust cleaners.
There's terrible water inside of it that's,
Oh,
anyway.
yuck.
Anyway,
Okay, and then, our dirt, that brings us to our dirt, and we're gonna harken back to last week's episode on trees.
yes. And you sent me this nice link about planting trees at Wadston Manor.
Yeah, Wadston Manor.
And
Yeah.
so tell us about that, Dee.
Well, I haven't looked at it in a week, so I'm gonna have to look it up
Oh,
because
well,
I don't remember. Um, oh, it's an estate, and they started planting trees on it, and it's part of the greening of Great Britain, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can never go wrong planting a tree.
No, in fact, you should plant a tree, and I've gotta figure out what tree I'm gonna plant in my front yard.
Okay, so really quick, 2 trees that are members of the legume family. Ready?
I know one of them. Uh-huh, go ahead.
Red buds,
Yep. They definitely have legumes, and that's the state tree of Oklahoma. But you don't want to plant it out in the middle of the sun. It likes riverbanks,
Right.
so it
And
likes
then
shade.
I believe my honey locust is
I
an
think honey
emerald locust.
locusts are definitely legumes. There we
Yeah,
go. We just related it back. All
exactly.
right. So do the quote, and then we'll talk about rabbit holes. And I have another one that I thought of too.
But she looked well and healthy and full of beans. W. Somerset, Mom, Cakes and Ale.
All right, so rabbit holes. I'm now using Chat GPT to help me learn Bulgarian. And you might say, well, how is it helping you? Well, it's very interesting because it not only gives you the translation, but it tells you which one would be more friendly and it tells you different versions. So you're actually seeing some of the language. So that's
Right.
really good. And you might ask, why on earth am I still doing this? Well, because I'm going to visit there someday. And we're also going to try to chat on the phone in September because that'll be 1 year that we've been friends, right? The other thing, I have another rabbit hole too. And that is, Bill and I watched football, soccer. We watched all the championships, the FIFA championships, and we were really into it because it was fun. We got to in the game that I play, we got to cheer for them, which was betting basically. You got to bet for different teams and it was all free. It was just a game within the game. And it was
Right.
so much fun because they would give you like the odds. And a lot of times the odds weren't I mean, that didn't mean that person won. You know what I'm saying? So, like England and France, it was supposed to be France, but England won. And so there was a lot of that. And Spain and Argentina, of course, ended up hitting the finals. So that was my other rabbit hole last week. That was a good thing for Bill to do when he was still in the rehab hospital and also when he came home. We sat and watched those in the afternoon.
Cool.
Now, this was hard for the people in Europe because the games were held here in the United States and they were in our afternoon, but it was their like sometimes their middle of the night. And one of my friends who's from Finland, he and I, when Bill was in the hospital, he and I watched the game together. It was the United States game versus, I think it was England, but I don't remember.
I don't think the United States played England, did they?
Okay, well, whoever they played, I can't remember who they played. They lost, as I remember, but I could be wrong.
They lost to, uh, well, this is how much I paid attention.
I don't
I don't
remember.
know.
We lost fairly
We
early.
lost to Spain.
Yeah. Oh, there you
Well,
go.
no, England lost to Spain. I don't know.
England lost to Spain for sure.
I
And
wasn't paying much attention. I
ended up
know who won.
yeah, Spain. And I have several friends in the game who are from Spain, España, and they were very excited, and it was fun to see that. Okay, that was my
Oh,
2 rabbit holes.
well, I did see a funny thing on Instagram related to the game, and it
Yeah.
showed a guy in an Argentina jersey sitting in the stands, all boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Then he stood up and he ripped off that shirt and he had on the Spain shirt and he starts clapping wildly.
I didn't see that one. I saw the ones where they went to various stores and they went to eat at various places, and they really enjoyed it. They really
And
enjoyed
enjoyed the
Texas
United
barbecue.
States and
They
the
did
things.
enjoy the United States. They thought it was really fun, and I did like that it was all over the United States, like
Yes,
different arenas, and that was really cool too.
yes.
All
All
right,
right.
what were your rabbit holes?
So I wrote about another lost lady of garden writing, and her name was Dansky Dandridge.
Danska.
Danska Dandridge. And she wrote, somebody already has compiled a book of all her essays and letters.
Oh, the
And she
garden
died in
at Rose Break.
1914. Yeah, the garden at
Wow.
Rose Break. So actually a reader of my Substack, The Lost Ladies of Garden Writing, she
Mhm.
sent me an email a couple weeks ago and, hey, have you heard of Dansky Dandridge? I'm like, no.
That's
And so I looked her up and then I realized that somebody had written this book. And I'm like, well, Carol's going to have to get that book. But anyway, she died. She was only 59 when she died.
oh, she
But
died young.
yeah, she wrote 2 books of poetry. Then she wrote gardening articles and letters from her garden that were published in various magazines. And then she stopped that and she wrote a couple of history books, including one that's still referenced today about prisoners of war of the American Revolution.
Well,
And I'm
these
like,
these people had such diverse interests.
I know, and the book she
I feel
spouts off
very boring.
she spouts off Latin names of all these. I mean, she was not some she knew stuff.
She wasn't a lightweight, as it were.
No, no, and I guess at the garden, Rose Break, you can go to the house, but I don't know if the garden still exists, but the house is on the National Registry of Historic Places
Cool.
in Shepherdstown, and it's now in West Virginia. When she lived there, I think it was still Virginia. Anywho, that was interesting.
That
And
is
then
interesting, and then you're also listening to a book. I'm
I'm
reading a
listening
new book, but it has
I'm
nothing.
listening to Mov, The Story of the Mitford Girl's Mother by Rachel Trethewey, and I sent you a link to a podcast called Slightly Foxed.
Uh-huh.
They talk about the most interesting books and stuff. But anyway, they were on talking about,
Do you know what slightly foxed means? Tipsy.
well, I always think of I think of like when a book has foxing, it's like it's got discoloration. I think of it
Well,
in that way.
I think they're both I think it's a double entendre.
It could be. But anyway, it's a very interesting podcast, and they always have interesting books that they feature. And I've enjoyed listening to it. I only have it's about 10-hour book. I listen at 1.75 speed, which, by
Mhm.
the way, I read somewhere that it's perfectly normal to listen to books at a faster speed than what they are recorded, because when they record, they're very slow and deliberate.
Mhm.
So I can speed it up to 1.75.
I can do
So
1.5 easily and
yeah,
still keep up. Yeah,
depends on
easily.
them. But anyway, very interesting. And their mother, Sydney Mitford.
Yeah, she was a force to be reckoned with.
Well, yeah, and I don't think she ever gave up her love of Hitler.
Well,
So
one of the sisters didn't either.
Unity, that shot herself in the head because
Yeah, she
England went to
loved
war
him.
with Germany, and
The other
anyway,
one married a Nazi, didn't she?
she married a socialist.
A socialist. Okay. Yeah.
But it talked about how with the six sisters, with all their diverse interests and all going, communist, socialist,
They were
aristocracy,
they were
she
something else.
managed to kind of have some relationship with all of them, though at times, she was not in communication with like Jessica, who had
Right.
moved to the United States, but um, just a complicated family. And still, people are like with me. I'm still fascinated by this.
They're fascinating. Bill and I
Anyway,
watched a whole show on them again.
yeah, they
And
had
we're
that drama about their lives. What was
yeah, which
outrageous.
we got through season 1, right? And now
I
they're
don't know if they had planned a season two. The actors and actresses didn't really know yet if there was going to be a season two. They
it
were
was
open
good
to it.
though. It was really good.
Yeah, but just yeah,
They're crazy. All right, a garden to visit.
we didn't have one, so I had to come up with one
This
for
is
us.
really good. I like it.
So you can visit an All America Selection Garden near you. And so there are 200 plus or test gardens across the United States and Canada
Yeah.
where they are actually growing All America selections or trialing plants that are potentially All American selections. And so there's several in my area. There's one out at the state fairgrounds, and our state fair is going to start in another week or so.
Mhm.
And so they'll have thousands of people go through there, and they can see the All America selections and stuff.
And
And
why
I
would you
know
wanna do that, Carol?
what?
Why? Why would you wanna go?
Because we love plants and gardening.
Well, more specifically, you would wanna go because you can see how well plants do in your area.
That's right.
Because there's regional winners and there's national winners, and so here we have I know we have an all-American selection garden at Oklahoma State University Botanical Garden,
Yes.
and I know we have one in Tulsa up by the, oh, I've seen it outside that one garden, which the name I can't think of right now, but anyway, it's up at the park, at Woodward Park, so you can definitely find these, and then you can see how things do in your area, because just because something wins in one region, it might not win in your region. And they test everything. Like if they're testing pentas, there's 20 pentas. If they're testing periwinkles, there's 20 periwinkles. And so it's fascinating to watch and to see what does well.
Sorry. So go check out, we'll put a link to their website where you can go and search for a garden in your area. And peak summertime is the best time to go see these gardens. So you can see, like, because there's a lot of annuals and vegetables and stuff in addition to perennials, but many of them are focused on annuals and vegetables. Anyway, that's our garden to visit. Commission time.
I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing, and I'm starting to think about bulbs. I'm trying to decide on daffodils. Do I want yellow or white? Normally I love white daffodils, but
You
my
need
house
yellow.
My house is blue and yellow, so I mean blue and white, so I think yellow would be better.
I
And I
think so
tend to
too.
like the little daffs. I'm not a big, they don't have King Alfred anymore, but that type, the great big huge yellow, that's a lot of foliage to get rid of in a very small garden. So I'll be going for the little ones like Louisiana or some of the other small ones. And I
Oh,
might put Hyperion in there even though it's white cuz I love Hyperion. Okay. Oh, and I might do some tulips because my garden is much more protected than my old garden. I do have some rabbit damage in the back, but
hmm.
not too bad.
So I'm
Okay.
going to keep watering, harvesting as that stingy little garden gives me stuff. Do a
Uh-huh.
bit of weeding and deadheading. Repeat as needed. I'll probably mow the lawn next week. I definitely will mow the lawn next week. And then run around a gas that it is nearly August.
Can you believe it? I feel
No.
like this summer just flew by.
I know. So this episode's coming out on the 29th, 30th, 30th.
I
So
think the 29th.
so
Oh,
that means next Saturday is August?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, oy vey, oy vey. Well, let's move along and wrap this thing up because we got a lot of July living to do before August shows up.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you for listening to The Garden Angelist. We publish every week on Wednesdays at 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Be sure and follow us on Apple Podcasts. That helps us get noticed by others.
If you subscribe to our Substack newsletter, you get a link to listen to the podcast a whole day early and links to the products we discuss. Plus, go over to YouTube and see us in person. Full episodes show up on Tuesdays. So, if you can't wait until Wednesday, you now have 2 ways to get episodes on Tuesdays.
If you want to help support us, use our affiliate links. If you buy something after clicking through on them, we earn a small commission and it costs you nothing.
Or you can set up a monthly subscription through Buzzsprout or make a one-time donation through PayPal. You also have the option of pledging your support on Substack.
Thank you to everyone who has done so. It helps us pay for podcast hosting.
It was lovely to chat with all of you over the Garden Gate. Bye until next week.
Bye, everybody.